I will share this with everyone. I will share it wholesomely, knowing someone there will understand the meaning of the soul. When we grow up at age 1 day to 7 years, we live in our heart space. That's the age we love the most, we care the most, we dream the most, because the soul and the spirit are one. That's why in this age, children show vulnerability and truest love. They live in the heart space, which is the soul. The soul is the heart, who we are. When children grow up, we dream big, believing that we can be Superman, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, Captain Marvel. That's from age 5 years to 12 years and more. People believe that we are far from God, the light, that the heaven is too far from us, that we exist in two planes and it's too far to go there. When you're young, 5 years old to 14 years old, you don't see anything wrong with the world because you live at the heart space. You are cloaked with your parents and light, God. Then you start to get older and then you start to realize that love doesn't exist, especially if your parents are abusive, divorce, one parent absent. Then the child is brought into a reality of the matrix existence. The matrix is what is pain, suffering, what is the source of the world. When you're young, you are cloaked with light, so you do not see the true reality of the world. When the child witnesses absence of parents, divorce, the child steps one step far from the light, God. And now the child starts to realize that love does not exist. If my parents never loved, or I was never loved, I was never cared for, that means love doesn't exist. The child steps one step away from light, God, into the matrix, throwing the one thing that made him close to God, which is love. The child starts to resent love and is built in the spirit of resentment and pain. Parents bring children to the matrix by how they treat their children, what the children see and hear, what they witness. Now at age 12 to 14, the child witnesses drug misuse, prostitution, and gun violence. The child believes there's no safe place in the world because they see the harsh cruelty of the world. Now the matrix builds them as robots because they have gone through too much at the age of 14. They have witnessed everything. The child goes to school and something happens. Gun violence, a shooting in school. The safest place of the child becomes the place where the child fears. Courage, the spirit of courage drops, and the spirit of fear begins, stepping 3 steps away from light, God, and going into the matrix deeper. The matrix is here to deplete the soul from existence. This is erasing the soul from existence. We live through the heart space, and the heart space is the soul. If you didn't know what the soul is the heart, the freedom of expression, the freedom to be who you want to be. At the age you turn 30, the soul becomes the younger version of you, the 12-year-old, the 7-year-old that you left behind. So you get older, the soul darkens. When you're age 7 to 12, you have dreams, visions, goals. You believe you can be anything and be greater than. You believe you can outdo Michael Jackson, dance cooler than him. Even if your friends laugh at you, you still have this inkling that you're meant to do great. You're 10, but you still believe you can be an astronaut, a Spider-Man, a Superman. You believe you can discover the planet of aliens. You want to be the first to teleport. You even believe that you can actually access telekinesis and telepathy or fly like Superman. At a point of creating capes, drawing pictures, and even saving the world from villains. But now you start to walk the journey that you told yourself to be. Michael Jackson, greater than. But you get a lot of scrutiny from your parents, your friends, your teachers, people surrounding you, telling you what makes you so special to be this great being that you see yourself. They forget that they were once there. And that because their dreams never reached, that means yours too is not going to go anywhere. They break you, making you believe you amount to nothing, that you should settle for less, discouraging your dreams and vision of who you see yourself. And the soul always knows its purpose and its greatness. At this point, you're billion miles away from the light, God, because the matrix took from you each bit by bit. Fear, you exchange love to resentment, courage to fear, from seeing yourself great to seeing yourself invincible and worthy. In short, the matrix takes your light, alchemizes it for dark purposes to build a force of evilness to imprison other more souls. Now you become your bully, your own bully. You're 30 years old, you're 40 years old, but you bully your 10-year-old self by telling yourself that you're so emotional, the world doesn't need your emotionalness. The world doesn't need love. The world doesn't need feeling. Be nonchalant to exist. Be tough. Don't cry like a baby. The world doesn't need that. Don't feel anything. Block them. At a point you tell yourself you rather die than show people who you truly are. You tell yourself you'll never make it if you keep showing your emotions to the world. Some even hurt themselves by slapping, banging their head against the wall, screaming, yelling, calling themselves worthless in front of the mirror, cutting their flesh just because the young version of themselves wants to connect with the world, wants to connect with them. This is the soul. You bully, destroy, break your younger version, your 10-year-old you. Give it no attention because it's too naive and too stupid to understand the reality of the world until you break your younger version, the 10-year-old screaming to come out. At the age of 50 to 45, your 10-year-old self is chained, taped, broken, useless to you, and you disconnect to the soul. Now you're not a soul, you're just the flesh, walking amongst the flesh. Now this matrix that you worship gave you options to live in. Let's state the examples. Every being at age 14, the age 14 is supposed to be in a relationship and possibly heartbroken to evolve. At age 21, you're supposed to get a degree and then start a business of your own. At age 23, be a hoe, be a slut, sleep with everyone, just be reckless, enjoy life, be whatever you want to be. Don't discard anyone's feelings or emotion, just live in ecstasy, desire, and pleasure. At age 26, you have to have at least 600k and more in your bank account. At age 30, stop living in an apartment, get a home. At age 35, get married and children. 40, at least accomplish something, an award, so that you can show your worth to the world, to your friends, to your family. At 55, you're supposed now to realize that your age is up. Now you have to decide when you're going to start retiring, so that the younger people could find what you had. You are not accepted. You are disposable. You're age 60, you're supposed to have at least 2-3 divorces. That's not much, but at least you're not as worthless in relationship as other people. At 70s, don't work. I hope you retired and now you're eating on your own benefit. Just let the people who are young do their job. Stay relaxed and wait for your health to deteriorate. At 80, wait for your death. You can get older. I hope you enjoyed life, the life that you existed. At age 80, you're useless, of course, and now you are watching as your timeline in existence unfold in your eyes. I wish I did this, I wish I did that. I hope I enjoyed life. I hope people remember my accomplishment. I hope I left a legacy that people will admire. The soul is the heart that knew who you are from a very young age, knew your purpose, how great you're supposed to be, bigger than Michael Jackson, Albert Einstein, Freddie Mercury, Bill Gates, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, Marilyn Monroe, Charlie Chaplin, the universe, the next Tommy Cruise. Now tell me something. Why should you allow or let the matrix dictate your existence? What you want to do, how to stay young, to accomplish at every age, to get married at 35 years old? If you don't, you're a weirdo. Why are you not having love? Don't you know how to keep a woman or a man? Why don't you have children and you're 50, 60 years old? Why don't you have a stable life? You are everywhere, anywhere. You're worthless if you do not have such an amount in your account. Now, living in your heart space, the soul, you can be anything you want. You want to get married at 55, you can get married because you do not let the matrix dictate how to live your life. You don't let the matrix tell you who to date, how old, how young your lover should be, because that's not your problem. Let it be their problem. You love whoever you want to. You want to attend parties at 88 years old. I love that. Be that. You want to create prom for 60-year-olds to 70. Please do that. You want to wear anything? Do that. You don't have to live in the matrix that tells you what is good for your appearance. Wear a 1600 gown. 1600s gown they used to wear, or the Abraham Lincoln's hat. Play video games at age 70. That's cool. Be a prankster, be a weirdo, be smart, be nerd, be sexy, be full of wisdom, be spiritual, be the God. If you think you're capable of creating time traveling, please do that. The world needs that at this time. By you existing what you want to do in life brings back the soul. I'm not saying this just for no reason. This is how you bring back that child that you broke, that child that you have chained, that child that you don't want her or him to say anything because she's too emotional, too damaged, doesn't know anything, too naive. The world doesn't need that. That's the soul calling you to bring it forth. You say you're not a bully, but you bully your 10-year-old self, yet you're 60, 70 years old because you don't live to the heart space. You don't live, you do not express yourself. You're just a flesh walking amongst flesh. If a child loves writing poems and singing music to loved ones, that's how you revive it back, because only the soul can have its purpose, not the flesh. The flesh has its own ways, but the soul has a purpose in this world, in this universe. It starts by you taking love that you threw in the dustbin, the love that you so hated and thought it was not needed in the world, bringing it forth, because love is the power that the matrix wants to take from you. That is the heart chakra and the sacral chakra. Power to love, power to express, power to desire. And I'm not talking about sexual desire. I am talking about living to your own desires. You want to be whatever you wanted as a child. You can do that because you still have time. That's why there's no new discoveries in this world, because you took what was meant to usher you into greatness because the people mocked you for you being who you are meant to be. The child in you wanted to walk on moon. The child in you wanted to be the next Napoleon. See, you have to understand the soul has its own purpose, and the flesh cannot activate the soul's purpose and mission. Only the soul can do that. That's the child that knew who she and he was in a very young age. That's why Stevie Wonder sang the song, "Heaven is 10 zillion light years away." Why? Because the more you get into the matrix, the more you step out farther from light, God, heaven, and you get into the matrix. So God didn't push you away. You just turned what was good and you made it your darkness for evil. Love has feelings, and imagine having a communication with love itself. And I am good. Love is good. Why would you not let me express and feel things? Because you're too afraid of what the world will see you to be. Yet love is what makes you be who you are. Love is what will make you go higher, better, and experience life. And not just existing, but life, happiness, joy. When you take the spirit of love, who the soul is, you chain the soul, you bully it. That 12-year-old you is crying, doesn't have a say, and has no justice when it comes to you because you find it useless. You mock it. Who will love someone like you? You say to it, you do not deserve love. No one sees your worth. Why did you say that? Are you that stupid to think that's the feeling of him or her? Maybe I should just take my throat out so that I can never speak again. Next time I speak that, next time I do that, I will punish myself because I am worthless. Why are you crying? Why are you crying? Why are you so emotional? Be a man. Men don't cry. Why are you expressive? What the heck is wrong with you? You're stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid. Next time I do that, I so will kill myself. Tell me something. If you were a parent, would you ever say such things to your child? But you say it to you, the 12-year-old you that loves you and is trying to help you to connect with the light side, but you throw it, you mock it, you abuse it, you ridicule it, you destroy it. But that is who you are. That child comes out because that is who you are. Because you are love, you are caring, you are the biggest dreamer. You are unapologetic yourself. You radiate. You want to be fun. You want to make jokes. You want to prank everything, everyone. But you don't want to express that because you're afraid of the ridicule that is there. Maybe people will hate how I sound. Maybe people will hate how pathetic my voice sounds. Oh, how do I sit? How is this? Why is my ass so small? My boobs are too shaggy, fallen. Man, I do not know why I am so bald at this age. Maybe because I don't deserve any hair. Man, why do I smell so bad? My mouth stinks all the time. I'm afraid to fart in public because people will think I'm crazy and weird. But when I do it, accidentally, I hate myself. I am too fat. I am too skinny. No one will ever love you. Look at how you look. Look at those wrinkles. You're so ugly. Your mouth smells like piss. Maybe you drank it in the morning when you came to work. You're too concerned how people will see you. You're too concerned of how you look to others. You're supposed to live, to exist, not to mock, not to live in the appearance of how people expect you to be, but to exist, not to be the flesh in the sheep walking amongst other sheep. You're supposed to stand out, be loud, be crazy, be the weirdo, be the don't care who doesn't give a fucking crap about anyone. Because guess what? You die, you will go alone. No one will have your back. And when you die, no one will cry. They will cry just 2-3 days, or even one day, and possibly think of how to begin again, to continue with life. Who am I going to date next? What will I accomplish? But you never existed in the soul. You existed as a flesh, comparing yourself with others. You compare yourself to others, but you don't call yourself superficial. Let the soul come out. Open a sesame. Live your life how you want you to live, what the soul wants, not the flesh, because the flesh never accomplished whatever it was meant to. Only the soul can be that great leader, inventor, musician, actor, the discoverer. That's the purpose of the soul, and that's why the world is full of chaos. You think the world has evolved, but we're still stagnant. We're still there. Just because we have AI doesn't mean we have accomplished anything. That's why the Matrix will always target children, not adults, children. They will take children foster to foster. They will rape them. They will abuse them, bully them, kill them because of the soul. The child has the soul, taking their destiny just for them to be robots like everyone else. We should protect the children, and also we should bring the 10-year-old us back, the 15, the 5-year-old, the 7, the 12, the 13, the dreamer, the loudest in the room, the craziest, the goofiest. We do not want an emotionless being existing because you are just a flesh with no emotions. I am going to tell you this. If the child doesn't want to age, it won't age. That's something that the Matrix never told you, because it's all in your head. Some people in the old days lived to 300 years, 200 years, 100 years old, 700 years old. That's why right now we begin the golden age, where we let the soul exist, where the child is in the driving seat. You say the child is too naive, but you have to remember that child was near God, so nothing happened to the child. But when you push yourself away from the light, now that's when bad things happen. This is the fulfillment of Malachi 4:5-6, and also Luke 1:16-17, turning the hearts of the father back to the children. This is when we say the child leads the father, when the child is the leader, when the child is the driver of the flesh, when you bring back the golden child, because only the golden child has the approval of God, not the flesh. This is the message, and so live through the soul, not the flesh. Exist in the soul, not the flesh.